am Draken, and this is the DrakenGameWorks, and we are back with another episode of Unorthoblocks, and we are here in our base in our storeroom because I've just spent the last couple of hours, give or take, a couple of hours, we should say, working on this box down here. And you can see we have, not that box, the box beside it, that one. You see the amount of observers we've got in there, the amount of pistons we've got in there. I had to farm up so much cobblestone for that. We had to go down to the community witch farm to get a load of redstone for that. Obviously, we got an iron farm production, though I had to go and use my spruce tree farm to get the wood for the pistons. It's taken a little bit of gathering to gather all of that, and that is a lot of observers and a lot of pistons. And you may be wondering, Draken, why do you need all these things? Well, let's go and see what it's all about. And with the power of editing, this is why. That's a lot of pistons that are sitting up there. Look at that. All those pistons rising up. And if we actually fly away from this, we can actually see where we are. We are just in this little platform here that we have built previously on our outer city. And you can see this sort of tower of pistons here around this structure, which may seem like a bit of a strange structure. This is actually Ilmango's version of a Podzol Farm, though I sort of changed the sort of mechanism down the bottom to something that I understood a little bit better for sort of replenishing the dirt there. But I will link up in the description below the videos to the tutorials that Ilmango has done on this one. He does have another one as well, which I never really checked out, but I saw this one. I like the sort of look of this one, so we worked on this. So I haven't tested this yet, so this may go incredibly wrong or it may go incredibly right, and we'll find out here. But what we need to do is just put some down initially. Won't need to actually wrap it up like we have down there all the time, but if we make it grow, it has now grown into a tree, and you can see we've got some podzol at the bottom there. We need to make sure we've got an axe ready for us as well. We obviously need the thing, but then we only take out the bottom 4 of these, and then we can replant that there. But before we do, what we need to do is actually use our Silk Touch shovel, and we're just going to dig up all the podzol that's just grown. And you can see it's all sort of cropped in there, and you'll see it all falls into the chamber below. And actually, that's produced quite a lot of podzol. I didn't realise it would produce quite that much. That's pretty good, actually. But yes, so what we do is we do this, dump, 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 and I might want to turn the sound down in a second. And you'll see why once I get into this corner. So we get to this corner here. We have all of that lovely podzol has now gone down into the centre. And because we've put it to the centre, we need to replenish. So I'm going to do this, which means I can now just plonk my dirt in front of this piston, and I'm being replenished as I'm doing this. So as I put one in, there is a dropper beside me, as you can hear it's getting noisy, puts the dirt back into me, and then also I plonk one down right in front of me into this piston, which pushes it across, and the other pistons push it back into place. Let's shut that off for a second, because that was getting very noisy for a second. We'll turn the sound off on that. And you can see it's starting to slowly replenish there across the middle there, but we'll get to this properly in a second, and we'll replenish that all up. But yeah, that is our Podzol Farm. And if we go down to the bottom here, because we can use also sort of the AFK technique, we can see we have a stack and a bit of podzol just from that first one, which is pretty awesome. And so once we've replenished it all the dirt along the bottom, and regrown all the dirt, we can then just do that all over again. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it all in there, and we're going to test this a couple more times. But one of the other things we can do, which I forgot to do and test off in here, why this bit exists here, is that that is a leaf shredder system here. So if I just sort of tuck in here, I should have done this before digging up the podzol, but I do that, and we should see, there you are, you see them all drop down there, all the saplings there have dropped down as well. But I'm going to cut it there for a second. I'm going to give this a couple of tests and see how it goes, but that seems pretty awesome, and then we'll come back to it, guys, in a second. And with a couple of tests, look at that, we've got, well, I put it through 3 times now. We just got over 3 stacks of podzol. Actually, I've got some that's picked up in me. So about 3.5 stacks of podzol after just running it through 3 times. And it's just so easy to use. And in fact, actually, I should really turn this mechanism off, because this mechanism is running away with us at the moment here. So I'm going to have to sort of build some steps to get up into here properly and do a bit of decorating on it, obviously. As you can see, because at the moment I've turned this on, I need to turn that off. Oops, just spilling dirt everywhere. I must remember to do that. It's just because I got the sound off at the moment. But I made a little bit of a modification here. So we have this double chest up here that can now contain all the dirt here, which is then feeding into a hopper directly into this dropper, so that when we're placing down the dirt blocks here and it's dispensing out here, we can actually carry a bit more dirt here, because we do go through quite a bit of dirt to obviously place it down into here. I also put a trapdoor here just so that we didn't accidentally place a dirt block up here, because that was happening a couple of times. So the trapdoor there prevents us doing that. I can just place that straight down there. But yeah, this is actually working pretty nicely actually. So we come into here, you can see we've got the big spruce log there. But it works fantastic, and we've had a few things out of there. So doing this, I mean, this went up much quicker than I expected. Took me about an hour or two. Just following through Mango's designs and just working through it in survival. The hardest bit was probably working out how to do the bottom bit. But the side bits are all working perfectly fine. But I think this has inspired me. You might remember last episode we were talking about a few other ideas that we can do. I maybe should go and build a couple more farms down here, I think. And by the power of editing, we suddenly have 2 brand new farms. And for you guys, this probably was like next to no time, though. Actually, this took me probably about a day or two to get these all built up. Probably about 2 days, I think it was in total to build these. We sort of built 1 on each day. But yeah, they come together quite nicely. I've got a couple of extra new farms down here. They're sort of what I call naked farms at the moment. They haven't got their builds around them, so these are just literally the bare bones of what constitutes the farm, with all its mechanisms exposed and everything as well. This one's not too bad, but it's still not actually properly built. And this one's got a little bit of covering on it as well. But the plan is now for the next couple of days, for the rest of this week, I'm going to be covering these up and building a bit of a build. And we'll finish this whole area, or try and finish this whole area this week. So this will be another platform done, which means we've got a little bit more of the actual city completed, or the outer city completed, which is nice, which is a nice break from, because we've been doing a lot of work out in the rural areas over there that you can see. But now we've got this area sort of done here. So the 2 new farms we've got here is this one first, which is the Sugarcane Farm. This is based on the design by Tango Tech. He released a tutorial about a year ago showing how to do this nice, it claims it to be lossless. I have noticed once or twice at the end here that the odd sugarcane sometimes gets stuck on the final block. But it's not very often, so it's near enough lossless. It's near enough lossless. Sugarcane Farm. This is actually the same design that I used over in the DrakenSpaceWerks itself, where we do our pumpkin pie farms. But in that one, I'd only used a single cell over there, which was the one which we were using way too much of for trying to meet all our sugarcane needs, and it just wasn't keeping up, because we were using the sugarcane for our pumpkin pies, we were using it for paper, we were using it for paper for books, paper for rockets. We're using it also for like building, as you can see out here. We've got like farmland out here that's been made with sugarcane. We use them for making redecorations around the river. So the sugarcane gets used quite a lot. So I thought, right, I need a lot more sugarcane. So I needed something that's a bit more serious. So this one is considerably a lot more serious. So whereas the other one was like a singular cell, it was just like 1 unit, this one is actually 45 units built into this. Yeah, you believe it, 45 units. So each of these rows here is 3 units going back. So we got 3 there and another 3 here. And across the bottom here, we got the 5. So that's 15 on the level. And then we got 3 levels of it, so that makes the 45. So there's 45 of these, so it does some serious production. And since we've had this up and running, you can see actually how really efficient this has been. Just in the time it took me to build the other farm, we have filled up nearly 4 double chests. In fact, we have overfilled 4 double chests, because some extras went into these chests here as well. So we have filled over 4 double chests worth of sugarcane just while this is going on. And it's really cool just to sort of, sometimes I just sit here and watch, and you can just see all the sugarcane just flowing just so rapidly all the way down over into here. It's pretty cool. It just seems almost constant that we have sugarcane coming over. And what will happen is, the way this is designed is that once these chests are all full, the sugarcane going across the top here should carry on once those hoppers are full and everything backs up on the system. It will move into an overflow system where we have a composter. So if you look at the back here, you can see where they come across. So the water stream goes across the top there. Once it finishes past these, it'll come onto these ones, and these got these composters. So any surplus sugarcane should be then turned into bone meal and will end up in these chests down there. And yeah, if we head on over to the other farm, then we'll take a quick look. This is the other one we built. This is a pumpkin and melon farm, and again, this is the same design we actually used back in the DrakenSpaceWerks for part of our pumpkin pie farms. But with that one, we had a single cell once again over there, and it's based off a design by Mango. All of these designs, so we've got 2 Mango designs here and 1 Tango Tech design. We will link up the links to the tutorials below. These are adaptations of it. So what I did was I took the Mango design and then I made it 3 times bigger. So we got, this end piece here between these glowstones is probably just one of his, and then I made him another 3 across there. And then I changed the collection system in the bottom here so that we have these minecarts, and we have actually rows of minecarts going backwards and forwards, which really quickly pick everything up, because I use only a single minecart on the singular cell one back in the DrakenSpire, and I noticed that sometimes it gets a bit clogged up and you end up with bits hanging around, which isn't good for lag, having loads of items hanging around. So trying to avoid that, we just have these 9 that just pick them up really quickly. It distributes them into hoppers at the end here, which then come into this dispenser, and you can see it clicking away. It's one of those auto dispensers that as soon as it picks up an item going in here, it just spits them straight back out again. And you know, they're just barely in there, and then they're just straight back out and spat out of the watch stream. And we have again 3 levels of this, so this is where it's going up to. So we got, not only is it 3 times bigger on a level, we have 3 levels of it. So this is 9 times bigger overall than the one we have in the DrakenSpire. So it's producing a lot of melon and a lot of pumpkins, and they're being picked up. There's minecarts under each level as well, dropping them into dispenser platforms here that come down, and there's a water stream here. It's like a water elevator comes up here. These bits just drop down on top of the water elevator, and it pumps them into the water elevator, comes across the top here. And this is, I don't need any more pumpkins or melons. I've got actually plenty of pumpkins and melons coming from the other farm. What this is doing is purely converting all of those pumpkins and melons into bone meal. So this is another bone meal farm. And again, I mean, we haven't been keeping it going long, but we've already got quite a bit of bone meal starting to come through. And bear in mind that we have, this isn't the only bone meal farm we got. We've also got the one which is powered by sweet berries with the foxes on there. So we've got sweet berries, and then again, half of it, or most of it, is actually those sweet berries being converted into bone meal, but we are keeping some of the sweet berries over there. And we also have like a bone meal generator inside the DrakenSpire for anything that's surplus from the pumpkin pie farm. So hopefully with this will meet our bone meal demands, because we do find, and when we're out terraforming in the greater DrakenSpire, we use a lot of bone meal. Like, bone meal is used for so much in what we're doing here, whether it's generating, like you've got these crops over here, these 2 high flower farms, they need to have bone meal to actually replicate those. You need bone meal to be able to replicate flowers themselves. So when you go out to the actual flower, the sort of the 1 high flower farms, they need them for that. We use the bone meal on the grass itself as we're going around here. When we put the trees down, we use the bone meal on that, and that turns around and generates it up higher. So the bone meal is getting used for quite a lot of things. I mean, it's like almost the whole land is requiring now bone meal of some description at some point. And we've also got I haven't actually finished doing this river, though we've done the banks, we haven't actually done the central river, and that will probably require more bone meal in order to put a bit more of the underwater growth in there and actually make it look pretty cool again as well. So there's so much demand on bone meal that we are needing now these multiple storage units. And the great thing with this is that these bone meal farms, these farms should run whenever we're over here using the Podzol Farm here, and which we obviously need also for the mysterious forest, which is also going to need bone meal. So it's going to need bone meal, and it's going to need Podzol for over there. So these should activate while we're working on this. Plus we've got a bit of work to do in this area, because obviously we've got to start working on the rest of the inner city over here. So we should be in the general vicinity and triggering these a bit more regularly at the moment over the next coming weeks. So that'll turn around how to produce it. But one of the other things I'll probably do down here is build like a little AFK spot somewhere on one of these that I can just actually just sit here in AFK. If I need lots of sugarcane again or lots of bone meal, I can actually just come in AFK down here, depending on what we're needing at the time. And then we can just go in AFK at different points of the base, you know, because obviously you've got the gunpowder farm there, which we're probably just out of range of, but there is an AFK spot at the top for that one. And then there's obviously, if you're sitting in the, I find that if I sit inside the DrakenSpire, that's a great spot for AFKing for things like the iron. So depending on what we need, we can just go and sit in different locations for, you know, AFKing and getting the bits we need. But I'm quite happy with how these turned out. I mean, nice little adaptations of the original design, so do definitely check them out. But I think on that note, because it is getting on in the day and we're going to be streaming a bit later on as well, I think this is time to show you a time lapse of us working on what we're going to do with the rest of this. with that time lapse. I didn't quite capture all of it, but we have completed sort of decorating this area out. Actually hiding the farms up inside builds is something I like to do. I don't like to normally have the farms exposed. I know some people like having these big exposed farms with all the complicated redstone, and I like doing redstone. This is one of the things that, you know, I think I sometimes get classified as being a bit of a builder, and I kind of wonder why, but you know, just looking around. But I also know my redstone. I also do redstone, and I do a lot of redstone, but I do like to bury my redstone. I like to put my redstone inside of builds. So what have we got here? What have we been building on? We've got this big bridge coming out here. That's coming out, so we have finally connected up now the second exit. Well, second entrance technically. So this is the entrance that comes into the DrakenSpire, the inner city, right by the gardens. So on the left here, we've got the gardens here. You've got the DrakenSpire just on the other side of the gardens itself. And then if we go down there, you've got like, we've got, what's that? That's our Purple Farm there. And just in front of there will be our forge. And then to the right there, there's the tavern there that we had Lady Bex do the interior on as well, which looks absolutely fantastic in there. If we come out of here, so this is the other gate, and this brings us down here, and we've got this nice long bridge here, and you can see it sort of brings us beside the districts we've already built. So you can see there, that's just the map room there. And as we come over here, we can actually look over the side here, and we can see that now I've also built an extra bridge here. So there's a second bridge here connecting the outer city bits here of these districts. So these two bits are now connected, which means this area here is now actually, because we've got a tunnel as well, which I'll show you in a second. I did sort of build it before I started everything else, but that tunnel connects around to the main front gate. So now all of the outer city is now properly connected. But we have this like drawbridge here, just coming off this bit here, going over here, and then this leads us right down into this section here. And this brings us straight back to that sugarcane farm that we were looking at earlier. Before we get to there, obviously if we get around to here, you can see we've got another two of these sort of quick buildings that I built up here, similar to the ones that we got elsewhere. Sort of helps sort of merge all the builds together. Shows even though it's the only two that are on here, it sort of just connects it over with what's on the other side of the bridge as well. And then we have this, and I love this design. It's like a very sort of gothic sort of style design. I love using columns like this, and this pattern is a column pattern that I use a lot in a lot of places. Sort of developed in the last server that I was working on, but has improved since then. And we use it a lot then for a lot of things here. But yeah, we have this area here with a bit of greenery around the areas as well. Sort of helps break it up a little bit. Haven't done the interiors to the buildings themselves yet, but we have this little outhouse building at the side here, which is where we're getting all our sugarcane into. And I think, yeah, we are not far from filling all of our sugarcane chests up. Like, literally, I built this because I needed sugarcane in large quantities, and I think we've succeeded in that. I mean, we have nearly got 16. I mean, we've got 14 definitely double chests filled, and there's a little bit of bone meal tricking through on this one as well, so a little bit sort of tends to overshoot every now and then. But yeah, this farm is doing fantastic. This is why we've been down here building, and we've still got other things to do in this area. So if we come around to here, we'll have a look at the rest of it. So that, what do you call it? I'm still going to pick these up as well, actually, at some point. I should do that now, so we don't want to lose those. I have this habit of leaving things around. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we pick our resources back up and put it back over in our resource room. But you remember that we had showed right back at the beginning, the very first farm that we had built there, the Podzol Farm. Well, that's this now. This is this tower here. So we have this lovely sort of build which comes up to that tunnel I was talking about, which actually this tunnel goes right underneath this district, comes out right by the main entrance on the other side that leads out the front of there. We've got a little sort of garden here, just sort of tucked in beside it. I love the feel down here, actually. I just love that sort of, kind of like it's built between sort of, these buildings have utility, they have purpose. They're not just here for the sake of being here. They have an actual purpose, and actually they do have a purpose. They, you know, they look like they should have a purpose in the city here, even though you might not be sure what that purpose is when you first come through here. But if we actually sort of go beyond that, we can see that they actually have a purpose. They are our redstone farms. So yeah, so this door here leads through to where we would collect the Podzol from, so we can collect the Podzol in here. And if we close that door off here, we can go up these steps. And this brings us into the farm itself directly, so we don't need to worry about it. And this is where we would farm the Podzol itself, which leads all the way up there to like a glass ceiling at the top there. I'll get to that bit in a minute. But our sort of reloading bay is here just behind this door. And that's where we would actually reload the dirt back into the floor there as well, with that automatic dirt reloader there as well. So that's this farm here, the Podzol Farm. Now this building is actually being built adjoined to the one beside it. So if you actually come around here, it will all look like this is actually part of one big building, but technically it's two. It's just two that have just actually been connected, because obviously this is the pumpkin and melon farm that we had right at the beginning. And I kept this bit open. Maybe we might change some of the floors on the insides of these for wooden floors at a later point when we do the interiors properly. But one of the things I did was I changed this all for glass, because I love seeing like these flashing lights going off in the background here, up and down, as every time it goes out, which is absolutely perfect. Sorry, bear with me a second. People seem to be celebrating outside. We shall be back in 2 seconds. And we shall try that bit again quickly. Unfortunately, I do live in the middle of a city centre, so I mean, sometimes things do get a bit noisy down here. So I have to be sort of careful of that and try and record around that. Makes things a little bit difficult, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, so we have these bits here sort of flashing away. So I can actually see this now because it's built on the glass. You can see the redstone flashing away, which I kind of like. I kind of like that sort of look there. But yes, again, we've also been building up a bit of bone meal behind us as well, which is absolutely awesome. So we now have, what's that, 3 double chests, I think? Yeah, 3, I mean, probably 4 by the time you sort of merge these up. In fact, yeah, so probably about 4.5 double chests full of bone meal there, which is going to be absolutely essential for our terraforming projects there. But yeah, I'm very happy with the way that these sort of builds turned out. If we come around to sort of this side, we got that entrance into there, and then we got like this sort of platform and sort of design up here. Fly away a second, we'll have a look at it properly from sort of distance. I love the look of this from outside of the city, actually. I think it sort of sits quite nicely. If we come and sit on top of this airship here, I'd keep using things like this airship as like a perching point to actually come and have a look at it properly, but we can actually now see it's sort of tucked in down at the side here, and it kind of looks like it fits. It does fit in this area much better than I thought it would do, actually. And with this bit being a bit taller here, it kind of just sort of looks like it's out of place and almost connected to that bit, though it's not. From this angle, it kind of looks connected to it. And yeah, I think it sort of suits well to the actual city design itself, adds a bit more bulk to the city. And I also say it's because like a lot of the outer cities so far had been these sort of low buildings here, with the exception of like the tower over there, and then maybe sort of the map room. This gives a bit more sort of height to the outer city, and sort of says not all of the outer city is going to be like this. That there are going to be sections and buildings that are going to be a little bit taller throughout the section here. Just like we've got like the dry docks over the far side over here as well, so we can sort of consider that. I love the way that sort of come together. And one of the things I sort of did a little different here is I used the sandstone texture in there. It's something I used to do on old builds, but haven't done recently. But we also have like this upper section here, and this is what I was mentioning. I was talking about having an AFK area. Now this is only reachable by Elytra, but it's basically a safe room that if we sort of bring up our sort of there's like the mini HUD that enables us to sort of see when spawnable spaces are around, and you can see there's not a lot of spawnable spaces. Well, there's no spawnable spaces in here, so this is a good place to sort of AFK at. And it's actually directly above our Podzol Farm here. So this is that glass ceiling that you could see. So this is a good spot for us to go and actually AFK if we wanted to turn around and just help produce up more Podzol and more sugarcane coming from this sort of production here as well. And if we sort of fly over this side, we can also see the farm from within the city as well, sort of what it might look like if we were to look out. I don't know if this is going to be a good spot to... Actually, yeah, no, this works. This works from this angle. So we've got the gardens there, and you can sort of see it peeking over the edge of the walls there. I'm quite happy with this build. I think I'm really chuffed with the way this has turned out. I think this has been an absolutely perfect element to add into here. And I think the next steps for me, for what I want to do over the next couple of weeks, is look at maybe just sort of completing off some of these areas that we haven't quite completed off yet. Try and sort of fill up a bit of the outer city a bit more, a bit of the greater Drakenspire in this area, just so we can start sort of filling some of the gaps in. And yeah, again, from this angle. Awesome, I do like that. That actually just makes it look really busy from here. Even though we haven't done the city behind it over there going towards the docks, it does sort of look like the right sort of thing to be at the front there. Kind of suits well, actually. I mean, I'm really happy with that. It's kind of, I think it sort of balances the city out quite nicely. But I have been Draken. This has been the DrakenGameWorks, and if you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like below. It really helps me out. Don't forget to subscribe either. This also helps me out as well. We are getting there. We are starting to get our subscriber count up. It would be nice. I want to try and aim maybe by the end of the year to be hitting about 1,000 subscribers. So that's my goal. So if you can help us out with that, sharing this video in any way as well would always be greatly appreciated. And please do leave a comment below if you've enjoyed this build and enjoyed any of our videos and everything as well. In the meantime as well, don't forget to check out the rest of the members of the Unorthoblocks server. Their stuff is going to be linked up in the comments below. Sorry as well that this video has been a little bit late this week coming out. It's been a little bit of a problematic week for me this week, and it may not be a video out on Sunday as usual next week either. We shall see how that sort of comes across. And I know I was going to do and cover, for those of you who are waiting for the Star Citizen, I was going to cover the Invictus launch week, but there's been issues with that one, which I'll cover another time. But in the meantime, you guys all take care. You guys have been wonderful, and we shall see you all again soon. Bye.